give you a little farm tour of where I'm at end of June after starting my Farmlet this spring. I'll show you what's growing and what I've been working on and where I'm thinking about getting to maybe by this fall. I hope this video is fun for those of you who wonder what the farm looks like. You can kind of see it in space in 3D, and it'll also be a little time capsule for myself to see what I was doing at this time in my first year. So come along and I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing. So this is my little packing area in the overhang of our shed, and back there is the walk-in cooler trailer where I keep all the veggies cold. I also use it for dry storage because there's not much of that around here. Harvest bins and double sinks and green spinners over here. Not a whole lot of fun stuff to look at, but this is where people come and pick up their veggies. They pull up the driveway and I help them get their order out of the cooler. That happens Tuesdays here on the farm. And yeah, it's been wonderful. I think that the compactness of it makes it really flow, and I even set up extra tables in here when it's like a really big harvest. But I've been having fun working in this space and improving it a little bit along the way. I just ran a permanent for now, water line, so everything was always on instead of having to hook it up every time I want to use it with the hose. So that's a little improvement. I still need to do some wiring over here, get permanent plugs and stuff for the spinner and the scale and things like that. But here's where I'm working out of right now. Okay, now I'm in my little lean-to greenhouse, which I made another video about, and we're beyond the spring push, so there's a lot of extra room in here. I've got bench space, and I'm trying to grow some microgreens for salads and for the market, so to use up that extra space and because they're beautiful and lovely. But this time is when you start seeding for the fall, so I've got first successions of radicchio, even the tardivo type that's all squid-like, and every week I do another round of salad mix. So this was seeded Saturday, and then this is a week back and another week back, and then the fourth week is already outside and the fifth week is already in the ground. So that's kind of how that flows for salad mix production here. And yeah, it's been a lovely space to have. I haven't repaired it since the bear clawed up the side, so it's not inflated. The plastic isn't inflated anymore, and there's still a big hole in the side there. I just have a board up against it, but I'll get to that soon. And yeah, that's the greenhouse update. Okay, so then just outside the greenhouse, crops that are about ready to go into the field come out here to get hardened off. Got some chives to plant. This salad mix will get planted this week, also some head lettuce, and then next week I just move this stuff out. This mix will get planted. And I even have some little baby ruby chard, so I don't have a paper pot planter at this farm, but I do have these 420 trays, so I've just been like seeding them as if they're microgreens and then planting them like this just as a backup if my direct seeding doesn't work. And that's actually been working really well, especially with something like this chard because it stands for so long. So it's in the field for a long time, and I don't know, it's kind of cool. If it doesn't work, they can always be microgreens too. So if you're following along in the springtime, you know that the deer fence was the biggest project that we did so far. There's about 900 feet of deer fence around the little farmlet, and gates are hung, and I trimmed all the wire, finally did that part. I still need to have Josh trim the tops of those posts, and yeah, it's done. We use locust posts and this 8-foot fencing wire, And no deer have gotten in so far, no bears that I know of. Probably a few raccoons because they seem to come after the feather meal in the soil. But it's up and it's super reassuring. And actually, yesterday there was a bear walking up this way towards me, and I was so glad I had a deer fence because I went in the deer fence and closed this gate, and then I made lots of noise and it went away. But that's the first time a bear's come along when I've been here working alone, so that was a little nerve-wracking, but I know I shouldn't be scared of it, but I am. Anyway, that is the deer fence. So this is my little north-facing shady garden, and I've been trying to prioritize planting all my lettuce that's going to mature in the heat of the summer here because it gets really good afternoon shade. And Josh and Mark, his friend, brought home a bee box, so they're doing that. I'm not associated with it, but I'm really glad to have the bees here for pollinating tomatoes most of all. So I think I might have enough plants to fill up. There's 4 empty beds in this plot right now. Fill those up today. Spread compost and amendments first and knock back these perennial weeds. I get a lot of milkweed and different trees resprouting from when this was just a scrubby little pasture. So, but this is my shady summer plot. So I think from here you can kind of see most of the farmlet. This is the hilltop spot where I want to put a high tunnel this springtime. Or, yeah, springtime if I can. And then further down below you can see tomato trellises, and then there's another plot over that way, and the road runs along the front of that, so I get to wave at people as they come down the road, which is really fun. I've got irrigation up, I've got sprinklers, a little bit of drip over by the tomatoes, and I'm going to do some more improvements on that today. Try and get it set up for those hot days with a timer and everything for the lettuce zones. And yeah, that's one vantage point. I'll give you another one. So the Sun Gold cherry tomatoes are just about starting. I have a little bit every day to pick, and almost enough to start putting in salads and bringing to market. These are the tomato trellises. I got these hooks for doing them, which will become more integral to a tunnel-based system. But I got them this year, and I'm using them in the field for now. I've got the shoulders of the beds all planted with lettuce because it's a little shady there. And further up the hill, I've got more successions of lettuce, salad mix, kale. I just transplanted some beets to see how that went. I've got some dill flowering for making pickles. I've got my little rice and sorghum patch right there. That's my little bed layout tool. And then I just seeded some more turnips this week before the rain, so that was pretty handy. And then beyond that, you can see I have, these are sort of like 40 to 60 foot beds, and then over there there's some 90-foot beds. And that little greenhouse that we took down on the other side of town is all sitting here, so I'm trying to figure out what missing pieces I need for putting that together and getting that up. It might be really expensive. All the missing pieces are pretty crazy, but that'll go over 3 of these beds up at the top here. So the lettuce in this area is all coming in right now. I'll be picking this for market, the country store, and slaughters this coming week. And they're looking really beautiful. This is one of my favorite varieties I'm trying so far. It's a blushing butterhead. Really yummy, really tender. Microloan salad kits might go in your market basket this weekend. But yeah, this section needs to be weeded. These perennial weeds come back really fast. So this is my main weed is milkweed. And when I tilled this area to get it established, I chopped the roots up into a million pieces. So those million pieces are trying to regrow. That's okay. We'll get to a different stage of life when it's all annual weeds, and that'll be even harder. So that's where we're at for now. And if we can, I can show you the other side of the tomatoes here. Have that sweet alyssum planted, and it's been really wonderful because it does attract beneficial insects. And there's fireflies on it right now, but these basils have been getting really eaten up. And then since that sweet alyssum started flowering, all the new growth is looking really beautiful. So I feel like something's coming back into balance. There's lots of ladybugs coming to feast on different things. The aphids aren't too bad in the tomatoes, so that's wonderful. But yeah, things are cranking right along, trying to stay on top of seeding and planting. And maybe after this week I won't have to make beds from scratch and amend them every time I plant. I can just tear things out, amend a little bit, and then replant, which is kind of its own ball of wax, but seems a little less daunting than setting up everything every time you want to do something for the first time. So where do I sell all of this lettuce? Well, I have been making salad kits, so I do prepared salad kits using stuff I grow and other products that I source from other local growers as well. Those salad kits go to the Floyd Country store, to the Roanoke Co-op. They are available at the Blacksburg Farmers Market and at Hustle Haven down in Roanoke. Then the other things like lettuce mix, these tomatoes I'm working on pruning, veggies and stuff go to the Blacksburg Market every Saturday, so you can buy them there. I also have a little bit of extra that I package up for Slaughter's Supermarket, so they usually stock salad greens. And I'm also growing a little bit of the greens available at the Floyd Country Store Cafe. So some of their menu items will be made with Cat the Farmer greens. I'm looking for more wholesale accounts at the moment because I have more than those markets at this time can support. So instead of seeing stuff go to waste, I'd love to work with more chefs, more cafes, people looking for heads of lettuce, edible flowers, just good local ingredients. That would be wonderful to sort of expand my reach and make sure everything gets eaten or sold. Yeah, I think that's the current state of affairs. Hopefully I haven't left anyone out. But so far so good. Things are moving, and it's a good year for learning and for figuring out what works and what doesn't. I just decided to stop attending the Wednesday Roanoke City Market, which is sad because I had a nice little salad-loving contingent down there. But in order to have more days up here on the farm, I'm going to try and transition that time and energy into doing just direct delivery of salad kits and produce to offices in downtown Roanoke. So as people start coming back to work, I'm hoping that they can order on my website, and then I'll just pop into their office in the morning on Wednesday, drop it off, and then they have salad kit meal preps, or they have ingredients for cooking all week. So that'll be a new thing. But that's where I'm at. My my business is off the ground and I'm doing it, and I'm so fortunate that people are receptive to what I'm doing and coming to support me at the market. It's been a long time in the making, and I can't wait to see where I'm at in 10 years and how this place becomes a home and a life. And yeah, thanks for coming along with me.